Good afternoon. I'm Cory Weissman, your Director of Athletic Communications at Gettysburg College, and we are here today to talk about community service. Gettysburg teams and student athletes are heavily involved in philanthropy on the college campus and in the local community as well. There are a number of great events that our teams and student athletes engage in throughout the whole season. And we've got a great panel to talk about those types of things today. We've got Nate Davis from the women's basketball team and men's golf team. We've got Joe Lynch, the Director of Alumni Relations in class of 1985. And we've got John Braun, senior pitcher from the Bullets baseball team. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me today. Hope to have a really great discussion. We've had a really great time just catching up with so many staff members, student athletes, and alums this week. And I look forward to today's conversation. So before we get started, I really just want to find out how you guys are doing, give people at home just a quick update, and also just kind of explain who you are and where you're coming from. Nate, we'll kick it to you first.
All right. Well, Nate Davis, head women's basketball coach, head men's golf coach. I've been the women's basketball coach here for 5 years and the men's golf coach now for 2 seasons. Well, 1.5, I guess. We got cut a little bit short this year. Yeah, we've just been busy doing a lot of connection as best we can online with the teams and spending a lot of quality time with family at home right now. So that's kind of what I've been up to recently.
And Nate, you're at home with what, 3 teenagers?
Yeah, my son's back from college and doing online classes with school, and 2 high school students that are busy doing high school work, hopefully. And then my wife works from home too. So there's 5 of us in this household, all sharing bandwidth, which is a very priority right now, right? So premium. So we're all kind of in our own separate rooms doing work and trying to stay busy.
Well, we definitely know that your wife Melissa is a saint right now for what she's going through.
No doubt.
Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself. How are you doing?
Good. And thanks to you, Cory, for all of the work you've been doing over the last week to highlight good things happening within the athletic department and what you've done for your entire career here. You're really a treasure to the department and the college. So it's a pleasure to be on here with you, especially since I started in the sports info profession myself way back when, after graduating from Gettysburg in '85 as a history and business double major. Played basketball at Gettysburg and worked in sports PR for 15 years before coming back to Gettysburg in 2000 to work in the alumni office. So I've been the alumni director at Gettysburg College for all but 1 month of this millennium, which was a pretty long time. But it's a great place to be, and I do get to see a lot of great Bullet athletics as part of the job. So it's a real benefit, and appreciate having me on, and look forward to hearing what John has to say. John, feel bad for your senior year wrapping up this way, but I know there'll be chances for you to get back on campus and gather with your 2020 classmates at some point when we're able to do so.
Thanks, Joe. And of course, you and I both competed in a triathlon together last year in Boiling Springs too. So that triathlon training's been a little tougher without the access to a pool maybe, I have to say. John.
Yeah, I'm good for running and biking right now with the time to do that. But yeah, the swim's going to be ugly.
John, turning to you, obviously you're a resident student athlete and a senior. You had your season cut short, but it was a great 10 games, certainly down in that Florida trip. Tell us how you're doing and a quick update on your background.
Thank you, Cory and Joe. Yeah, I just want to say, first off, I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe in these times of uncertainty. And yeah, I've just been adjusting to life off the field and away from the campus. And I'm a senior political science and business minor. And yeah, just adjusting to life at home. So we had a great run down in Florida, so I'm proud of that. And I know all the guys are a little bit upset, but I'm really excited for the guys next year to get after it, and they're going to be gritty. I think that's the one thing to look out for this next year.
Yeah, for sure. And past weeks, I've talked to Joe Giovinco. I talked to Shane Manieri yesterday. I think you seniors laid a great groundwork for the underclassmen to really follow. So props to you guys for laying down that grittiness for them to kind of follow and improve in the coming years. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about community service. You see, John, I've got my Take ALS Yard shirt from last year on. I didn't get one this year, but hopefully we can talk about that a little bit later. Nate, we're going to turn it to you. Throughout your tenure at Gettysburg, your teams have been heavily involved in community service. Talk about how important that is for an institution like Gettysburg, for the athletic department to be involved in those type of philanthropic activities. Say that fast.
Yeah, no, obviously it's, as coaches and mentors, we're looking for opportunities to expose our athletes to maybe opportunities they wouldn't get coming from where they're coming from. Some have, and that's amazing and that's awesome, but a lot haven't. And so to be able to, build those memories together for good causes and to connect with the community, I think it's really important. And it's part of that holistic, academic, experience really, and that's what we try to form in that. And it, to be honest with you, it's also some great memories, and so really it's just great quality time, spending time together as a team, helping out great causes and also connecting with the community. So those are the things that we really hope to get out of when we do community engagement, community service opportunities.
You guys have done a number of things through the years too. Talk about some of those endeavors as well as the endeavors you guys took part in this year in particular.
Yeah, I mean, one that comes to my mind first is, it's something that Joe's probably going to talk about because he spearheads it for the college. But every year we've always been involved with the Adams County Heart Walk, and so I won't steal too much of that or talk too much about that. But that's something that we look forward to in the fall every year, and it's just an opportunity for us as a team to get out and engage with the community there, and it's always fun to see people's excitement and just to see the smiling faces of everybody as they're getting out, getting some fresh air and walking and not too much exercise really, but some take it a little more serious than others. But for us, it's just a great opportunity just to start that community engagement right in the fall for us. Beyond that, this past year, we've were able to do homes for our troops, which was pretty interesting, and it was a neat opportunity for us. And that was something that we hadn't done before. That was, really neat to be able to connect with the community in a different way than we've ever done before, because this was, a disabled veteran who was relocating through Homes for Our Troops and to the Gettysburg area, and to be able to go out to his key ceremony was really neat for us to be able to be there and to experience that with him. So, besides that, we've been involved with, soup kitchens and those kind of things too. And so it's been really a great experience to connect with the community in any way we can and to look for those opportunities as a team.
Of course, for the student athletes themselves, I mean, they get to experience interactions with the community as well as each other. Talk about the impact of these community service events on the student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the greatest thing about that is the different perspective you're able to gain through being part of these things. And, obviously when you do a soup kitchen, you see people that have challenges and needs, and you get a better understanding and empathize a little bit more with people that may be in different circumstances than you are. And you also get a great insight into the camaraderie, and also the I'm trying to look at the word I'm trying to think over here, but just the generosity of people and the willingness to give up time, and community people that are already doing these things on a regular basis, and to get inspired by them is really neat to see. Again, I go back to this Home for Our Troops thing. I mean, that was obviously something that a lot of our players have never experienced before. I mean, it was basically a testimony of this veteran's life and kind of how he ended up in a situation. I mean, they went into how he was injured and the work he's done since then and the things he's overcame in his life. And so it was really inspirational for our players as well, too, to be part of that this fall, and just to see how coming together, this organization with a lot of other people and being involved, we're able to help this veteran out and create an environment where he's able to sustain himself in a really great way now, too. So I think just that holistic, greater understanding that our athletes get through being part of these opportunities is really, one of the biggest benefits.
And of course, I remember you talking about this. You discovered an interesting connection with this veteran as well. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I had no idea that this was going to be the case, but when we went out to the key ceremony, we got an opportunity to, walk through this veteran's house and to see kind of how this adaptive house was going to make his life easier. And of course, he and his family were there. And, I wanted to just go up and make sure that I, appreciated, thanked him for his service and got a chance to introduce myself to him. And I knew he was a Marine and that was about it. But as we started talking, it was really interesting, and it made it hit home even more to find out that we actually served in the same unit. Although I didn't know him at the time, we were literally in the same unit at the same time, and it shared even some memories that our units did together at the same time. So yeah, it honestly, as I left that day, because of that connection, it really impacted me. Just knowing that, one decision differently, my life could have been very similar. I mean, I was considering staying in the military, which he did. And I obviously chose not to, and I got out, but I was very close to. And just to think that that decision could have very easily, I could have been in his shoes. I could have been him. And that made it come to home a lot more than I think I even realized going out there. I had no idea that was going to be the case. And it certainly connected me to Glenn Silva, this veteran, a lot more. We still stay in contact to this day now and have had time to share stories and talk a little bit more. So it's been a really cool thing that's come out of this opportunity that we had this fall.
So my final question for you about the community service events is your favorite moment. Now, this one you just had sounds like it's up there, certainly. So would this be your favorite moment, or do you have another one in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that this opportunity monopolized a lot of our efforts this year. I mean, we did a game and to try to raise money and awareness for Homes for Our Troops. And Glenn actually came to the game with his family, and we got to introduce him before the game. And, we had special warm-up shirts that we wore at the game. And to be able to walk over with our seniors, our captains, to be able to walk over to him and his family and give them the shirt that we were wearing for warm-ups, and to do the national anthem with him there. It just was really special for me, as I said, just to know that, for that great cause, we were shining a light on it that day and playing for a special reason. So, yeah, that was probably the most memorable moment for me this year, was just being able to, start it in the fall, but then to see it come to a little bit of fruition during our season, and to maybe raise some more awareness for a great cause.
Well, thanks, Nate, for laying that all out there. We'll come back to you at the end of this conversation. We're going to switch things up and head over to Joe Lynch. Now, Nate mentioned the Adams County Heart Walk, which you've been heavily involved in for a number of years. So, Joe, if you want to talk about what the Heart Walk is, how long you've been involved, and how much participation we've gotten out of teams and student athletes through the years as well.
Sure. And thanks for your team's participation, Nate, and thank you for your service to our country as well. I started working here in 2000, and I think that first year I started work, I was invited to be part of the Heart Walk committee. So I started taking part in 2000, and then, I would just try to get folks from around campus involved in raising funds for heart disease and stroke research and education. And in 2008, George Petrie, then the men's basketball coach, encouraged his team to take part in the walk. And it was on Culp's Hill on the battlefield. So it's a nice little jog up from campus early on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. So I was impressed to see all the guys show up. And ironically enough, on that team was a freshman by the name of Cory Weissman, who, and the guys did the walk. And 6 months later, Cory, as many people watching this probably know, suffered a stroke at the age of 19. And that, impacted obviously his life, and really, I think, made it, really hit the heart for athletes who had taken part in it. And then that led to more teams taking part. So I'd say we've typically had 5 teams take part. The walk typically happens the second weekend in September, so it's not ideal for a lot of teams who are competing that weekend. But the men's basketball team, women's basketball team, women's lacrosse team, both tennis teams, and the field hockey team are teams that have taken part over the last 12 years. And so that's kind of the background of how Gettysburg Athletics got involved. So.
Yeah, it's a really cool scene to see all the athletes kind of go out with all the community members and walk together and interact. It's really one of the first moments some of those winter and spring teams that actually get together for an endeavor like this that isn't related to their sport too. So it's a really nice moment to see everybody come together. Joe, usually the athletics team as a whole is one of the top fundraisers. What's that say about the Gettysburg campus, the athletic teams' ability and drive to fundraise for efforts like this?
Yeah, it's the Gettysburg College overall was the number 2 team among all companies or teams this year. And our athletic teams were a big part of making that happen. I think we were about $170 from being the number 1 team. So we should have gotten a little more competitive and gotten to number 1. But yeah, I mean, they really make a big impact. And on top of that, the dollars are so important for research and education for heart disease and stroke. But the other thing that the athletes bring to the walk is a real sense of energy and enthusiasm, because most of the people taking part are older people who maybe have experienced heart disease themselves or in their family, or families with kids. But to have a group of 18 to 20 or 22-year-olds all decked out in orange and blue gear and representing their sports really, to me, brings both, as I said, that energy to the walk and enthusiasm, but also really allows several hundred community members who may not know, may have preconceived notions about what a Gettysburg College student is, to see 80 to 100 student athletes out there early on a Saturday or Sunday morning taking part in this event really, I think, does a lot to portray the best side of Gettysburg College students and Gettysburg College athletes. So it's fun to see. And I get comments every year from people to say, wow, it was so great to have your student athletes taking part. That really elevated the event in the eyes of so many, and the enjoyment for a lot of people.
Now, as the director of Alumni Relations, obviously you interact with alumni all the time, all years, all professions. I'm not sure student athletes always realize the impact that engaging in community service can have while they're in college after the fact. Talk a little bit about how, future employers, alumni, how they might view that type of endeavor during college.
Yeah, I think any type of engagement that translates to something you can bring to the workplace is valuable. So our students are incredibly busy, athletes in particular, because they're practicing throughout the year, competing throughout the year. So to demonstrate that they can do things outside of that construct and also bring value to others and do something for other people and not just themselves, and be part of a team providing for the benefit of others is something that I hope that they do come away with. And also a sense of some of the ways to get engaged with in their communities when they do graduate and move on to wherever they may land, and all the places that they may go. So it's a nice way to connect with your community. And I think Gettysburg overall as a college does a very good job of instilling some of those lessons and experiences. Certainly we have a whole center for public service, which is renowned for the positive impacts it makes with students and the community.
Given your years of involvement with this endeavor, do you have a particular moment that stands out from the fundraising, the Heart Walk, or any other fundraiser?
I think the thing that, I mean, obviously the Cory Weissman connection, having, being someone who benefited from that stroke research 6 months after taking part in the walk, having no idea that that would be the case, I'm sure. But to me, one of the moments that just brings a smile to my face is when I think about Nate's team a couple years ago. The walk actually got moved from the battlefield out to, they had to change locations 3 days before the walk, which led to a lot of stress for the organizers. Some people didn't show up because they went to the wrong place. So the walk just didn't have that positive feel that it typically did. And there was a DJ there and a woman trying to get people up and moving and dancing. And the entire women's basketball team, which was about 18 people at that point, got up, and this was at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and they were just rocking it and just brought like a smile to everybody's face and just really provided that energy that particular walk really benefited from. So to me, that really sticks out. And again, looking back at just how many student athletes have taken part over the years, our group is typically the largest team there with 80 to 100 student athletes. And, so over the last 12 years, that's over 1,000 walkers the college has provided to that walk, which is really remarkable.
Joe, thank you for that. Yeah, I can attest the women's basketball team is not camera shy at all. They'll get up there and dance for you if you ask them to, for sure. John, switching gears to you. Obviously, you've been elevated to the Take ALS Yard coordinator. And while Joe was talking, I actually Googled ALS so we can say the official medical name for it. It is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or better known as Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm a big Lou Gehrig fan myself, so I've read up on his life. It's really interesting. So it's got strong ties to baseball. Talk a little bit about Take ALS Yard from your perspective, and also what it means to the Bullets baseball team.
Yeah, Cory, thank you. So Take ALS Yard is the baseball's philanthropy effort to raise money for ALS research. And the program was inspired by the passing of Tom Kirchhoff and Robert Borman, both to ALS. And in their lifetime, they were both exceptional leaders, and they faced the disease with fearlessness. So we started the program, and since the inception of the program, we've raised over $70,000 towards the battle against ALS. And I think what's really important is that the program aligns with our values on the team. We approach the fundraising with the same determination as we do on the field.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, Take LSR started in 2013. Nate Simon was the guy, former conference player of the year for the Bullets back then too, and it's really just taken off. We talked a little bit about this last week about the coordinator position. It's almost like a position of pride on the team itself. We've seen a lot of great team leaders step into this role. So talk about your role, your excitement of being the coordinator for Take ALS Yard, and then some of the events you guys organized this year too.
Yeah, Cory, it's really funny that you mentioned Nate Simon, because he was obviously the person who created the program, and back in high school, he was actually one of my summer baseball coaches, and I had no idea at that point I was going to attend Gettysburg and let alone play on the baseball team. So shout out to Nate for creating this awesome program, and I thought I would follow in his footsteps and other leaders' footsteps in this program. So yeah, my role as the coordinator on the team was essentially to orchestrate the fundraising efforts for the 1920 year, and design the T-shirts and hats for our spring effort, and then manage the program relations. So, I mean, Coach Campo gives the coordinator a good amount of responsibility, and I think that that's in itself is a really good learning experience. It's up to the team to really do the work. He's not going to do it for us. And then, this year we deviated from our original fall fundraiser, which was a home run derby. And we switched to a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And this was just an effort to get more individuals involved, and it was a great success. So,
And maybe Nate, Joe, and I can get a 3-on-3 team next year when we hold this again.
yeah, hopefully.
What do you think, guys? We should get our own 3-on-3 team, the staff 3-on-3 team. Pitch in for Take ALS.
Can I coach?
Sounds good.
So, John, obviously through the years, you've got Take ALS you've been involved with every single year, and there's been other fundraisers. We'll go with fundraisers there. Other fundraisers you've engaged in across campus. Talk about how that makes an impact on the student athletes, and what it means to you as a student athlete to engage in these endeavors.
Yeah, so I think firstly, programs like Take ALS Yard are just opportunities for the students to give back to the community. And then the power of the student body is just immeasurable when we're all combined in one certain effort. But also as well, I think as a student athlete, there's certainly a balance between many aspects of life, and service is no exception to this balance. And I think at Gettysburg, we're really taught to be lifelong leaders, and it's programs like Take ALS Yard that essentially set us up for our life to make a difference outside of the world from Gettysburg College.
Do you have a favorite moment involving Take ALS or another fundraising effort?
Cory, I think it was you hitting home runs at the home run derby last year.
It's a great answer.
Yeah.
I've never been so winded in 2 minutes in my life just taking hacks at a softball. Any other moments that didn't involve me looking very old?
Well, I think this year was just really special with the 3-on-3. We really took a shot in the dark at the basketball tournament, and we ended up having 40 people come out for the tournament on a Sunday at 11 a.m. on a college campus. So you know how that is. So I think that's saying a lot about the level of support that there is for the program and how special it is to the campus.
And where can our viewers find the hats and t-shirts to buy? And how much are they?
So we have a link on the website. People can go to takealsyard.com, and we're selling the hats and t-shirts for this year for $17.50, and that includes shipping as well.
Yeah, and I actually did a story about 2 weeks ago that should be on the baseball page too, the landing page of the baseball team you can check out. John, just one final question for you. Obviously, you're finishing up your college career, poli-sci major. What are your postgraduate plans?
Cory, so initially I was considering job opportunities in the healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors, but with the current environment, I've started to really consider maybe pursuing an MBA degree, and then with that, maybe pursuing the extra year of eligibility that we got with the NCAA athlete agreement.
That's great, John. I hope that works out for you. I think some of your teammates are doing the same thing, as well as a couple other spring athletes too that I know of. So guys, that does it for our chat on community service. Thank you for all your insight and all the great activities. I have one final question for each of you. I've asked it of everybody the past few days, and that is your favorite moment, your favorite athletics moment out there over your tenure at Gettysburg. Nate, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, wow. There's been a lot of favorite moments. I think obviously, winning the conference for me would certainly be from an athletic moment standpoint. I don't
For which
know if
sport?
for women's basketball and for men's golf. Yeah, I think that's a great point. Anytime you set out with a goal to win the conference, and then you achieve the goal with a great group of people, and honestly, you brought up a great point. I mean, to be able to do it with a women's basketball team, and just the work they put in, and to see that as a coach and to see them accomplish that goal is really special. And then to turn around the next year, like you mentioned, and then to take over a men's golf program, and to come alongside them and try to help them achieve something they've been wanting to achieve for a long time, and to be able to see them do that on the course was really special too. And to see just the satisfaction and the joy that comes with achieving goals that you've worked so hard at for so long is just really special. And as a coach, that's what we live for, is to see our athletes achieve goals, and So for me, those are probably at Gettysburg some of the more memorable moments. But there's been so many. There's been so many smaller victories that don't get the kind of recognition that you see, by winning a conference. Every year gives those opportunities. Every player that you deal with or golfer, that when they overcome victories themselves, you celebrate those just as much you would a conference championship. And so there's just been so many, Cory. I probably could spend the rest of your time and then some listing off my favorite athletic moments, because they just happen all the time. They happen all the time.
Yeah, you've certainly had a great career in your 5 years, 3 straight trips to the national tournament for the women's hoops team. You got men's golf winning the conference title last year as well. So not too shabby, Nate. You've done okay for yourself. You definitely made a lot of memories at Gettysburg. So Joe, obviously you're an alum. You go back. You're part of this 3-decade club I've got going on. I've had someone on the chat every day that can go back 30 years or more. What's one of your favorite athletic moments out there?
The 3 that come to mind for me are, I've been really fortunate to have been at all 3 lacrosse women's national championship Final Fours and championship games. So to see in person those titles in 2011, 2017, and 2018 is really fun, especially because that's the largest team that shows up at the Heart Walk every year in September as a group, and they always make their own T-shirts, and I just feel like I kind of have a connection with them from the beginning, and to be there for 3 titles is really cool. One involves Nate's team. I think it was 2 years ago, playing in the championship game against Haverford in Brame Gym, and to see how large of a student section we had and how enthusiastic they were throughout the game, and then winning that title was just a great memory. And then also in Brame Gym, I believe it was 2008, I'm not positive, but we were in the first round of the NCAA tournament, or possibly second round, but we're hosting. And we were down 8 with about a minute to go, and Corey Dorsey hit 3 3-pointers in the final 32 seconds of the game. And then Elms College, who's this team we were playing, actually hit a half-court shot, but it was half a second after the buzzer, so we won the game. And it was right before spring break, I believe, so it was a real nice, big, enthusiastic crowd. And so to be in those moments, to see it live, it has been very exciting. My own career is too far away, too long ago. I don't remember any of it.
Well, you picked out some pretty good moments, and some of those moments might make our top list next week, which I'm working on with our former SIDs as well. That Corey Dorsey game is incredible. From what I remember, all the national championships, and then I have vivid memories of Kendra Meredith swiping that ball away for that game-clinching steal against Haverford 2 years ago, right in front of our student section too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, John, obviously you're the young guy on the panel. You've got 4 years to work with, memories at Gettysburg. What's one of your favorite athletic moments?
Yeah, so obviously this year was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of memories. But I was talking with the guys, and I think we've limited it down to Chuck Probst, 2 grand slams in 1 game against Penn State York, and Rich Power also pitched a gem in that game. So that was just so much fun to watch, and I don't think I'll ever experience 2 grand slams in 1 game ever again.
Well, come on, John, you're a Phillies fan. I know it's going to happen. At Citizens Bank Park, it's got to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chuck Probst from good old Bucktail High School. Nate, you're familiar with that high school, aren't you? Representing for Tioga County.
Yeah, you too, Cory.
Yep, I played him in high school, actually. Before Chuck was there, believe me. But yeah, those are great moments. We've all got plenty of great moments. It's great we can connect and reminisce about those moments out there on the field and court. So, guys, that does it for the chat today. Thank you so much. I think everybody learned a lot about the impact that Gettysburg athletics in particular makes in the community. Our student athletes are very involved, very engaged, and they want to be leaders and help other people. And that's great to see, especially during our current crisis. So I'm Cory Weissman, signing off for John Braun, Joe Lynch, and Nate Davis. Go Bullets.